This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. Secrets Under the Mesa by Nicki Huntsman Smith. Chapter 1. On the news this morning, I saw a story about a homeless man who had been tossed into a garbage truck while taking a nap in a dumpster. The driver heard the man's screams coming from the back of the truck en route to his next stop. Fortunately, he hadn't activated the compacting mechanism while the homeless man was still in the belly of the beast. Emergency personnel extricated the fellow from the truck along with hundreds of pounds of the detritus we humans generate in abundance. A Channel 8 news team arrived at the scene after the man had been taken to a local hospital. They filmed the garbage truck with its back door open and its contents spilling out onto the tidy street, while a dainty blonde reported from the garbage sidelines. The homeless man was fortunate to have suffered only a fractured hip, as well as minor contusions and abrasions. More details of his condition would be reported later on in the newscast. She informed that small percentage of Dallas featuring Worth viewers who happened to be watching Channel 8 at 5:30 in the morning. She managed to hide any revulsion at the stench which doubtlessly surrounded her, although I bet once the camera stopped rolling she crinkled that perfect nose in distaste. My HD television conveyed such detail that I imagined cartoon squiggles drawn in the air above the pile. The symbolism here is so visceral even a child could grasp it. But what's really interesting about the news story has nothing to do with the disposable humans metaphor, nor is it the obvious commentary on society's handling of indigents and those less fortunate. The really interesting thing is that in the far left corner of the screen, approximately 30 feet or so from the garbage truck, the cameraman had inadvertently filmed something that had no relevance to the current news story at all. It held no significance for anyone but me and a small group of others, at least in the short term. No one outside of that exclusive group would have recognized what they were seeing if they'd been attentive enough to have noticed it in the first place. And frankly, considering the observational skills of most people, I'd be very surprised if that were the case. What I'd seen in that 3 seconds of unfocused film footage sent me scurrying to the kitchen for the bottle of my Lanta. The shadowy figure caught by the camera in the pre-dawn gloom wasn't human. Oh, it would have appeared human from a distance. They have adapted very well to our culture. They wear clothing and move so similarly to us that the vast majority of our oblivious society wouldn't notice anything unusual. They've even learned to vocalize in a fashion, mimicking the cadence and inflection of our speech, but not quite formulating actual words. If you heard one speak, it would sound like an animated conversation from another room where you couldn't quite make out the words. And still, seeing the figure caught on the perimeter of a local news story wasn't the most interesting thing. I'd seen them before, after all. The most interesting thing was that the creature had been in the city, the glitzy uptown area of Dallas, to be exact. The invasion had begun. I scrambled to the kitchen and gulped down a couple healthy swallows of the magical, upset tummy settling elixir to which I'd recently developed an addiction. Hey, it could be worse. At least I wasn't hopped up on drugs or shooting Jack Daniels for breakfast. What I had seen in the last 6 months had changed my life irrevocably, and not in a good way. Thus the excess stomach acid, insomnia, horrendous nightmares on the occasions when I was able to sleep, and the persistent muscle tic in my left eyelid. I stood in the kitchen considering my next move. Finally, I reached for my cell phone, scrolled down my contacts list, and found the number I was looking for. "Benny, it's Josh," I said as soon as I heard the gruff voice on the other end. "Why the hell are you calling so early, butt wipe?" Ben was a big teddy bear, one with claws and fangs and a really bad temper during his occasional bouts of righteous indignation, but his heart was very much proportionate to the rest of him. 260 pounds, of mostly muscle and only
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.